Welcome to January 2021 Embroidery Club from Bernina, Oklahoma City. My name is Rachel Couch, and today we're going to go over In the Hoop zipper pouches. Good morning, Sally. So the featured collection is from Scissortail Stitches. It's number 51241, Sweet and Sassy Zipper Pouches. Well, they call them, I might have mistyped that. There are 4 different ones? 6? There are quite a few different designs. They are fully lined, no raw edges. And each zipper pouch comes in 3 different sizes. So 3 different sizes of hoops. So large oval, midi, and I think maxi, although it could be jumbo. I did not make the largest size. Good morning, Pat and Carol. I did make a small and a medium, though. And in that, let me go ahead and click buttons and show you what I made. So, this is the one we're actually making in this lesson. And that looks really bad. Let me see if I can get more light on the situation. There we go. That looks better. It's amazing what opening a window will do. So this is the one we're making in this lesson. We are adding some detail to it. These stitches in the background that I did match to my background fabric. But good morning, Linda. If I open it, you can see there's a seam here, but no raw edges, which is really cool with a embroidered zipper pouch. Okay, I have the collection. Okay, so here's the collection. This is what it looks like if you buy it in CD. We do have them in store, although I do have one of them here. So if we run out of stock, we still have one more. I just have to take it back to work. But there are 6 different designs, 3 vertical and 3 horizontal. Okay, yeah, the flamingo and the lemon aren't shown. Susan has apparently made them. But here's the flamingo. This is a medium size vertical pouch. So this one is going to my mom. Had a lot of fun making it. And I really like that you can have fun with different colors of zippers. And then one more to show you. So I'm actually going to feature this collection in February Software Sampler. So we're going to be doing a similar technique to what we are doing today, except in our embroidery software. So this is the sample for that one. So slightly different, more software based. And then for other collections, because I have my samples here, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is a new collection called Star Bright, I believe. It is a freestanding applique star, kind of shadow box, and you can put fairy lights in it and light them up, and they look really cool. I did do my own colors, so it's supposed to be all white, and I chose to do silver and then this bluey gray, and actually the silver is metallic. Normally I would turn it on, but I accidentally left it on, and so I have no batteries. And then another collection that came out recently from Scissortail Stitches is called Cheeky Cards, and I have made multiples, but this is the one I have at home right now. I would climb a smallish mountain for you. I just love it. There's also one, it's an elephant, and it says thanks a ton, and I am planning on using those as thank you cards for presents from Ella, or presents to Ella, not from Ella. The thank you card's kind of from Ella. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so Sweet and Sassy Zipper Pouches is the collection from Scissortail Stitches, which is one of the OESD companies. Fully lined. They come vertical and horizontal. There's 3 sizes, and they do involve raw edge applique. So in the picture, I'm going to be showing like just a square. I actually recommend in this case to pre-cut. I believe it works out better in the long run. Okay. So, supplies. You want fabric cut according to the instructions. fusible woven stabilizer, which is more of an interfacing. You need thread for the construction and the applique. So that's going to be what shows when you top stitch. But then, and so like right here, I have a purple, a black, and a gray. So the purple is what I have all my top stitching as. And I actually don't need the gray because the gray is actually supposed to match your applique fabric. But I did not realize that at the time. You need a zipper. It needs to be a nylon or polyester zipper. No metal. No metal. Metal is bad. I prefer using tearaway tape because unlike Scotch tape, when I go to tear it away, it usually tears away cleanly and it's easier to get up. Some thread snips, some big scissors, the point and press tool. This is an awesome, awesome tool. It has balls on both ends, so whenever you're trying to push out a corner, you have a nice ball so it's not going to shove through your stitches. Ella also likes waving it around. You want a tearaway stabilizer. The official instructions recommend lightweight. I use the new medium weight tearaway because that's what I had on hand. And then optional, you can get zipper pulls. So if you want a pull that is a different color than your zipper, you can get individual zipper pulls and change that out. Good morning, Ramona. So we're going to start by preparing our fabric. And to do this, we want to fold the bottom front, top front lining, and bottom front lining in half. And we're going to press it. There are a lot of fabric layers in this, and it's just trying to make it as easy as possible to have a completely lined bag without having to think too hard about it. You're going to take some fusible woven that you have cut according to the instructions, and you're going to put it on the wrong side of half of the bottom front and top front. So I have my little fold line right here, and that's where my woven fusible starts and goes to the edge. And I do that on both of these, and then this is the back fabric, and it's just completely fused to it. Good morning, Nancy. So now let's get to embellishing the design. And this is where I realized that I forgot to grab my iPad, but that's okay. That is why I have multiple things I can grab. So what I'm following is the handout that will be on the CD, the Embroidery Club CD for this month. And it's talking about how to add the loop-de-loops to it. So I have turned on my, okay. There we go. I turned on my simulator, but I couldn't see it. So I'm going to use the 880 simulator. This is something you can do on basically any of the new embroidery machines that have full functionality, because we're going to do some ungrouping and rearranging. So first things first, it's an embroidery design, so I'm going to click my home button and go to embroidery. I am going to go to my stitches folder, and I want decorative stitches, and this lives in folder 1001, and we want stitch number 20. And it's going to, of course, put it in the smallest hoop possible unless you already have a hoop selected. So we are going to say, no, not using the small hoop. We are going to use the large oval. And then I'm just going to X out of that because we are going to use endless embroidery. But first, because I'm bad at following instructions, we're going to change our color. So I'm going to click on the color palette, and I think it looks like a refresh sign. And you can change this to any color you want. And my go-to color is 2900, although I think I'm going to do 2905 because it's slightly lighter. Yes, purple is my favorite color. We're going to go back to the Edit tab, hit the I for information, and click on our 3 butterflies, which is Endless Embroidery. I'm going to deselect the arrows because I'm not using this as traditional endless embroidery, which is a way to embroider a like tablecloth, or it's really embroidering the same design over and over and over again, except we're using it slightly different. So we want 6 motifs. And then we're going to click the check mark to confirm. We are going to rotate those 90 degrees. We are going to click the wrong button. I needed to click the breadcrumb up here instead of that one. This works too, which is not the way. Back to Endless Embroidery. And we want 2, which usually it would be full of the hoop, but we want 2. We're going to do a check mark to confirm. Go back to rotate, rotate them around. But now we want to do a little bit of tweaking to make this embroider better. Because how it's going to embroider is it's going to either start at the top or bottom. But it's going to start one side, go all the way down, jump back to the same side, and go down again. So we'll have this long jump stitch, which we don't want. So we're going to hit the I for information to go back. And I'm going to scroll down and find this icon right here, which is my group ungroup. And I'm going to ungroup it. So now I have 2 layers on the side. We are going to go back to the information, and we're going to mirror image this left, right, and up, down. So now it's going to have it still has a jump stitch, but a very short jump stitch. We're going to group this back together. And at this point, if I wanted to move this so it was closer, I could do that. This is not in the instructions, and I'm doing it anyways. But you can mess with it to make it look like you will want it to look like. I'm going to hit the I for information. I'm going to select layer 1, scroll down, find my group, ungroup, and I'm actually going to hit the plus sign, which is group it back together. So now I have my design here. I'm going to add my pouch. Normally the embroidery design for this pouch will be included on the CD. So you want to put it on a USB stick. And so you can just quickly pull it in. So you can start changing the thread colors of this. What they recommend doing so you can see things better. So I'm going to hit the I for information to get out of that. We're going to go to colors. And they recommend making this black so you can see the zipper placement line. And we can use this to keep going through, and you can actually make all of this black if you want to. You normally would stitch all of this in the same color because it's either placement lines or it's your tack down lines, which is also kind of your top stitching. And then we get to the butterfly, which I don't want to mess with. I'm going to get out of that by hitting the the editing pin. We are going to select our endless embroidery, and we are going to open up our information again, select our move, and actually I'm going to be anal. Okay, so our pouch is at 0, 0, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to make the Y at least 0. X I don't need to make 0 because I'm just going to scooch it down so it fits anyways. This is a lot faster on a sewing machine. And we want to just move it so it's between our zipper line and the bottom of our pouch. And you can fine tune it. So like if I wanted it to be down below the placement line, although you don't see that. It just depends on if you want it to be slightly on the zipper or not. Your machine should not care either way. And I am dropping frames like none other. That's interesting. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, looks like we might be back. Sorry, I'm not sure what my internet's doing. There will be a recording of this on our YouTube page, Bernina of Oklahoma City. Well, you're going to hear me question why I'm dropping frames. So I've moved this to the middle of my pouch. And now I want to resize it. So I'm going to hit my breadcrumb eye. We're going to go to the resize. I'm going to unlock it. So now I can, if I click the right buttons, resize it disproportionately. Because ideally I want my stitching to be in the side seams. And they say about 105%. I'm going to go back to multifunction, and you can play with moving it to be exactly like you want. I'm trying to get it where this loop isn't quite in that seam, but that looks fine. So now I need to put it where it's going to stitch. To do that, I am going to select layer 2, come down here, ungroup it, ungroup, grab that back to the eye and go to the 1, 2, 3, which is our range. And I can now move it. And I want to move it so it is right before the placement line for my applique. And then if I want to, I can go back and group all of this back together. But now this should be ready to stitch. So back to our PowerPoint. So we embellish the design. One thing they recommend is preparing your machine if it is a machine that has thread away on it. So we have clicked settings, which is usually the gears, embroidery settings, which is the hoop, and you want to find the little thing that looks like a knot. I didn't take a picture of that one, but it's a knot, and you're going to turn both these off. These are your securing stitches. Sometimes when you're using lightweight tearaway, they like to tear holes in your stabilizer. The other thing is we're going to find this little icon. It's actually the same icon that's here. This is your thread away mode, and we're going to turn that off as well. When you're working with an in the hoop project, it is better for your needle not to go places you don't think it should be going, or going like it needs to stay where it's supposed to stay. Thread away is awesome when you're doing traditional embroidery designs, just not so much for in the hoop projects. So now we're ready to embroider it. So color number 1 is your zipper placement line. So we're going to stitch that down. And then we're going to put our zipper. I just want to point out that I have 2 zipper heads. This will come into play later on when it talks about moving your zipper head to the center. But I do have a pink and a purple zipper head, and the pink one is the one I care about. I just didn't pull the purple one off. But I used tearaway tape to tape the zipper down between the 2 placement lines. And then it will do a zipper tack down, so it will hold your zipper in place. And as you can tell, you want to be fairly accurate, but it's okay if it's not perfect. So then we're ready to start attaching our fabric. So on the top, you are going to put the top front to the right side of the zipper. The fold goes against the zipper because that's the whole reason we have a fold. The interface side of this should be up, and you're going to tape it in place. Then we're going to flip our hoop over. There's going to be a lot of taking the hoop on and off with this project. And we're going to do basically the same thing, although with the lining there is no interfacing, so it doesn't matter which side's up. And it's a little bit harder to see the zipper, so what they recommend is the fold cover the right zipper tack down line, like just barely, and then you tape that into place. Then you're going to do color number 3, which is the front panel tack down. I am using regular bobbin thread, so it's just white. If you want, you can use any color thread you want. You could match your top and bottom. But I don't even think you see it. No, you don't see it, so it doesn't matter that much what color you use, because it's not going to show. In the top it does, but bobbin it does not. And every time after something's tacked down, I do remove my tape because I will be using it in the next slide. So now we're going to do the bottom. And I'm going to tell you that this is the place that it's just kind of like, what? But it makes sense once you do it. So on the back of the hoop, we're going to place our bottom front lining with the fold just covering the left zipper tack down, and we're going to tape it in place at the fold. So it's similar to what we did with the top, but we don't want our embroidery that's on the front of the pouch to show in our lining. So we're going to open at the fold using the tape as a hinge, so that we only have one layer of lining fabric that we're actually embroidering on. This other one will pull down whenever we're ready to finish the pouch. Now you can, of course, and what I recommend is taping down the one layer of lining fabric. So I have a piece of tape right here. You can tape the folded fabric down, although since it extends past the hoop, to me it was easier just to visually go, is that where I need it to be? And then I could kind of gently move it if it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. This is kind of like whenever you embroider a tea towel, you have to make sure that it's not where it's where it's supposed to be and not underneath the hoop where it's not supposed to be. So it's one of those things you just keep in mind what's happening while you take the hoop on and off in the next couple steps. On the front's easy now because we just place the bottom front to the left of the zipper, making sure the interfaced or the woven fusible side is up, and you just tape it into place. It is then going to do your front panel bottom tack down, which I did not take a picture of for some reason. But that's this stitching right here that goes all the way around. And then we are going to do color number 5, which is our background stitches. So that's my loop-de-loops that's going on. And so these loop-de-loops are only on one layer of the lining because the other layer of the lining is over here. You can kind of see my purple polka dots. So then we're ready for our applique fabric. That's not what I wanted you to do. So I used a color that matched my background fabric when I placed my placement line for my applique. So it's right here. It's kind of hard to see because there's a lot going on there. And as I said, I did pre-cut my applique. They recommend having a 5-inch square. So you don't have to pre-cut, but because it is raw edge, I feel it looks better. Or my own neuroses says to pre-cut. This also means that because of how I learned to pre-cut, I have a fusible on the back, a double-sided fusible. In this case, I have heat and bond because I have a small box of heat and bond scraps, and I had to scrap those the right size. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Kay. So I placed my applique fabric over the placement line, and because I did have a double-sided fusible, I fused it down. You could also 505 it down. The other reason I like using a double-sided fusible or a fusible in general is because it makes the edges not fray as easily. They still can, as I found out, but it takes a lot of wear and tear. So then we are going to tack down our butterfly, and we're going to do that in a color that matches. My applique fabric is hand dyed, so there's not one color that matches, but I have one that's okay. And if you did not pre-cut, you're going to trim 1/8 of an inch from the tack down line. And it will match the bottom line, the placement line, because the tack down in this case is inside about 1/8 of an inch. And then you're going to do your butterfly detail. In this case, there was only one color, the black, on like the flamingo I did earlier, that I showed earlier. It has two colors, it has yellow and black. So they're very simple designs, not a lot going on, easy to do. And then we are ready to make it into an actual zipper pouch. So we're going to take our hoop off, we're going to turn our hoop over, and we're going to fold that front panel bottom lining back into position because we were done decorating the front of the pouch. So we want to put that back down so we can't see it in the inside of the pouch. And you're going to tape it into place. So I have my little tape right here and here. And then, very, 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 very important, and this is why the pink zipper head matters, because I do have 2 zipper heads. The pink one is the one I care about, because you need to open your zipper halfway and only halfway. If you open it all the way, it is possible that it will get caught in your embroidery design when it goes around. If you don't open it at all, you will not have a zipper pouch. You will have a pouch that is almost impossible to open. And if you realize it before you unhoop it, you can rip things out and finish it back on the embroidery machine. If you realize it after you've hooped it or unhooped it, you will be going to your sewing machine to fix it. If you can. Usually you can, but best practices is just at this step, you stop, you open your zipper halfway. Yes, I have made zipper pouches that won't open. It is not fun. We are going to place the back fabric right side down on top of the zipper pouch, and we're going to tape it in place. And then we're going to do our backing tack down. And this looks kind of weird because it's like, well, how am I going to turn that? Because it's all tacked down. We will get there. Because we haven't put the lining backing on. When I said there was a lot of layers to this pouch, there's a lot of layers, but it turns out so pretty when it's done. So we're going to place our back lining fabric right side down on the back of the hoop, and we're going to tape it in place, and then we're going to do color 10 inner lining tack down. And you'll notice that this one has this weird neck thing. And I'm not sure if I just cut my fabric a little small or what. Technically, it's supposed to be all the way on the fabric, but this works fine. If you have a little bit more fabric there, it's better. But as I showed earlier, I've made this pouch twice, and each time it didn't quite reach there. So I don't know if I miscut when I was cutting my fabric, because I cut all my fabric at the same time, or what, but that's a thing. So now we're ready to finish it. So we're going to finally remove the project from the hoop, tear away any outside stabilizer. You're going to trim approximately 1/4 inch away from the stitch lines, except for the neck. In this case, I've moved the neck to the left-hand side, and it should stay on the left-hand side. And you're going to clip the curves. I will say how I trimmed my 1/4 inch is I got my quilting ruler out, and I used my big rotary cutter to trim, because you can go right through zippers with a big rotary cutter, assuming they are not metal. This is not for metal zippers. And then I did clip all my low curves so that they will turn right. So then you're going to turn your pouch right side out through the neck so the lining is showing. And it's going to look kind of like a completed zipper pouch, but not quite. We are going to remove our stabilizer from the zipper area, and we're also going to close the neck hole that you turned it through with either hand stitching or a fusible tape. You could take it to your sewing machine and tap stitch it down. Mine are closed with hand stitching. Shout out to Noel for being my turner and my hand stitcher. He is very good at both. Especially when someone, tiny human, is trying to get his attention while he's doing it, because she wants to help. Anyways, so then we have our neck sewn closed and our zipper, the stabilizer off our zipper. We're going to turn it right side out through the zipper, which just turns right side out. Use a point and press tool to get all your curves out. You can press it. This is not pressed, but you can press it if you want, and you have a completed pouch. And I know all those steps made it sound like it takes a while. It really doesn't take that long. If you have everything cut out and your design pre-made, takes maybe 30 minutes. Maybe. And it gets faster, of course, the more pouches you make. So that is one kind of zipper pouch. There are other in the hoop zipper pouches. We do have clever cases, an example of this hanging at the store in multiple sizes. We have this one in the store, actually. Depending on what size hoop you have, there's different sizes you can make. These have a flap that you put a snap on to close it. There is also a back pocket. And there's a little, depending on the size, you can put a little loop in, because this is like for holding like a cell phone or something. And then you have so trendy crossbody bags. It's kind of the same thought process. There's all the different letters. This is, again, stitched up really easy. You do have 2 little loops because you can make a whole strap. You make the strap in the sewing machine, but you make the pouch in the hoop. These are wonderful small purses. And then if you want to practice piecing in the hoop, the Jeanette from Kimberbell is really good at that. It's kind of like paper piecing in the hoop because you piece together the front of the pouch. If you want a hybrid in the hoop zipper pouch, the Take a Peek pouches are like that because you actually embroider both sides of the pouch in the hoop and then you sew it together on the sewing machine. Slightly different than what I've done before, but once you figure out what they're going for, it's not hard. And then more from OESD, because they've had different zipper pouches over the years. They have like a little, they're using this for earbuds or headphones, but fun-shaped zipper pouches. They have egg pouches that look like eggs that are perfect for Easter. And then this is the original in the hoop zipper pouch. I want to say at least these two, the fun one, now that looks like it might be lined. The original zipper pouches were not lined. That is something they have come up with since. And there are so many more. This is just like these are different ones you can make. And I did mean to have one of the clever cases here to show you, and I forgot to grab it on the way out the door yesterday from work. But that's also a great one. So, any questions or comments? Yes, Noel is the best. But I am biased. While I'm waiting for questions and comments, because I know there's a little bit of a lag, I'm just going to quickly go over a couple upcoming dates. February 5th, which is a Friday, is the 3rd session of my Easter Quiet Book Embroider Along. The other 2 sessions can be found on our Facebook Live tab or on our YouTube page, Bernina. I don't know if it's Bernina OKC or Bernina of Oklahoma City. Now I'm going to check real quick because I am subscribed to my own YouTube page, or our YouTube page. Let's see. Bernina OKC. Our YouTube page is Bernina OKC. Do I have cheeky cards in store? I believe I still have another physical in the store. I definitely have one here. Noel will be going into work because right now he's baby wrangling. He'll be going into work later today, and I'll send this one with him. Thank you for watching, Marilyn. Okay, back to dates. Very easily distracted. Thursday, February 11th will be Bernina Club. Current plan is for Emily to be presenting that. And then February 12th, that Friday, we are having a freestanding lace virtual event. Registration has not opened for that yet, although it should be opening soon. And by soon, we're hoping this Friday. But once registration opens, Emily will be sending out an email talking about how to register for it. Okay. So I don't see any. I guess I could do a quick update about the store. So one of the shops, a couple places down from us, had a fire. So we were closed all last week due to a smoke smell. Like, we had no damage technically, but the store did not smell right. We have had all our insulation, our ceiling tiles, and the floor cleaned. Our insulation and ceiling tiles replaced and our floor cleaned. I believe Savage Quilter is now having that done. And the carpets were cleaned on Sunday. Yesterday we put a lot of stuff back, although not everything's back where it's supposed to be. But we are back open for as regular business as we currently do. So we're open for curbside, machine check-in, shopping appointments, looking at machines, that kind of thing. Okay. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in our next live stream. See you next time.